What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan takes place this weekend on the main card of UFC 300, and in my opinion, this is one of the most intriguing fights on the card, and this is one of my more anticipated, maybe even my most anticipated fight of the card. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing an in-depth breakdown of just this fight alone. I already talked about it on yesterday's prediction videos, so if you want to watch my initial prediction, you can watch that. But now I'm going to be going through just these two. I'm going to be looking at some of their statistics. I'm going to be watching some tape and breaking down where I think each of them can capitalize. And yeah, I'm going to be justifying why I think Charles Oliveira is going to win by first round TKO. And yeah, let's get started. So right off the bat, we can see Charles Oliveira has a 2-inch reach advantage. That's what we can see here looking at these statistics. And that will definitely come in handy when they're striking out range on the feet. That's something I think he can use. It's not a big reach advantage, but I do think that extra reach will help him get to the target first and be able to sort of keep Arman Tsarukyan on the end of his punches. But if you look at the career statistics of the two of them, obviously, otherwise Oliveira a little bit taller, and yeah, a little bit older as well. But career statistics, Oliveira, one thing I wanted to note was he averages 2.7 submissions per fight or per 15 minutes. He's never gone past 15 minutes. So that is basically what that is. Arman Tsarukyan has never gone for a submission in his life. And it's not on screen, but another interesting statistic is that Arman Tsarukyan has never had a submission, an official submission attempted on him in his UFC career. If you look at his record, you can see a bit of it. That far right column before it shows the events, that 0 all the way down, that is the submission attempts. And so obviously he has never attempted a submission, and he has never had a submission attempted upon him. But if you look at Oliveira, they didn't count any of the Benil ones because they weren't in enough, they weren't close enough, but he was attempting some stuff. Even against Makhachev he was, but they've got 2 official attempts against Gaethje, 3 against Oliveira. Obviously none against 3 against Poirier, none against Chandler. But he did have, it's not on screen because I'm only showing the last 5 fights of the two, but he did have many submission attempts against Tony Ferguson. Obviously, he had that armbar. He had a triangle attempt at one point. He also had a bunch against Kevin Lee too, where he ended up submitting him with a guillotine in the 3rd round. But that is another big thing just on the ground that I think will make a difference in this fight, is just the fact that Arman Tsarukyan is not used to having submissions attempted on him. In the Makhachev fight, in the Gamrot fight, in these fights where he's being tested offensively in the grappling, like he has to defend grappling exchanges, these guys are wrestling him, they're clinging onto his legs, they're going for sweeps and stuff, but they're not going for submissions. Islam Makhachev did kind of have like a head wrap or a headlock on him at one point. It was never like an actual submission, but yeah, when they got up from an exchange, Islam did have front on position with a headlock, which he probably could have turned into a submission if he wanted to, but Islam, Arman, Gamrot, these guys are all just they're very pure wrestling based. Even Ismagulov as well. These guys are very wrestling heavy, and they're not guys that go for crazy submissions or inverting stuff like that. It's just traditional wrestling scrambles, exchanges like that, which he is good at. And he did demonstrate against Gamrot that he can get up from takedowns and he can defend takedowns. But I don't actually think Oliveira is going to be attempting takedowns on him. I think the concern for Arman, where those submission attempts from Oliveira are going to be a factor, is when Arman gets on top, or if he gets on top, which we'll talk about in a bit in terms of Oliveira's defensive wrestling. But just while they're on the ground, if it gets there, Oliveira's chucking up, he's going for legs, he's going for all this inverting shit, and it's fucking complicated. And I just don't know the fact that Arman has never had a submission attempted upon him. He's never really had someone put up anything from their guard. When he was on top of Joaquim Silva, that's a bum. That's Joaquim Silva, who's not good. Joel Alvarez, he just got on top of him, beat him up in guard. But Alvarez is just a real lanky guy that doesn't really have much off his back. A lot of these guys that Arman Tsarukyan's fought, they don't offer up much from their back, and as a result, he's kind of able, if he does get on top, he can just hold him there, go throw a bunch of ground and pound. He's got a very similar style to Evloev in that way. Him, Gamrot, and Evloev all have kind of similar grappling styles of they don't really go for submissions. It's just a lot of ground and pound. Gamrot's even less ground and pound, but Arman and Evloev, they both throw a lot of ground and pound. And yeah, they're both not very big submission guys, and they don't really pass the guard of their opponents that much and work their way to mount. I know he did that against Joaquim Silva. He's done that a little bit, but a lot of the time he'll just get a position, and if the guy can't escape, he'll just hold the position, and he's not content to, he is just content to stay there, and he doesn't feel the need to go for anything else. So that's where I think Oliveira, and even if he did want to go for anything else, Oliveira's a guy that, you look at the Dariush fight, you look at the Makhachev fight, both of those, even the Kevin Lee fight too, those are 3 fights where he ended up on bottom position, grappling-wise, for a fair bit of, for a little portion of those fights. Dariush was less so, but Kevin Lee and Islam, he spent a little bit of time on bottom there. But apart from when Islam knocked him down and dropped him, and then subbed him, what really was either Kevin Lee or Islam able to do in that fight? Like, Islam really didn't get that much ground and pound going. Kevin Lee didn't get a whole lot going either. Oliveira's got a really good method of stopping ground and pound, which I'm going to show you in a second when we watch some tape. But yeah, Kevin Lee and Islam, both strong wrestlers. Obviously, Islam more of a strong wrestler. That's who we're going to be looking at in comparison to Arman, because that's what I'm hearing a lot of people say, that they think Arman's going to do what Islam did and take him down. But the first time when they went to the ground, Oliveira and Makhachev, it was Oliveira's terms. He let him do that. He allowed that takedown to happen. The second time was an amazing hip throw from Islam. That was the one takedown of that fight where Islam actually directed him to the ground and Oliveira tried to stop it, I guess. Because the first one, you can't tell me that was Islam getting a takedown. Like, Oliveira literally pulled him onto bottom. So, and a similar thing, same thing against Dariush. Dariush did not actually score a takedown against him. Kevin Lee did though. Kevin Lee actually did score a couple of double legs, a couple of single legs, and even reversed a position once where Oliveira was going for his own takedown, and he sort of pulled him, like he kind of lat dropped him a little bit, and Kevin Lee actually ended up on top. So, yeah, I just don't think Arman's going to be a guy, and Arman's not even like a guy that just always wrestles in fights. Like against Gamrot, he was the one trying to keep it on the feet. Gamrot was the one wrestling, but I guess actually I take that back. Obviously, Ismagulov, Joaquim Silva, he does wrestle these guys, so that was a retarded statement. He wrestles pretty much everyone he fights. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, Oliveira, I just don't think he's going to allow Arman to really do much on the ground and pass to positions. I don't think Arman's like pure jiu-jitsu is that good. A lot of the time when we see him, like watch the Ismagulov fight if you want to go to sleep. Like, I'm not even going to tell you to watch that as a fight that's entertaining. If you're going to watch a fight with Arman grappling, watch, I guess, the Joaquim Silva fight was alright, and then the Gamrot fight, that was good, but that wasn't really him offensively wrestling too much. But I just don't think Oliveira's a guy that's going to be easily controlled. The last time he was really dominated on the ground without being hurt on the feet first was Paul Felder when he tapped the strikes. That was all the way back in the day. That was quitter Oliveira before he dyed his hair and turned fucking elite. That was just mid-level Oliveira. But he powered up, and since then, no one's really done that much to this guy on the ground. Islam threw a couple pitter-pat shots, but for the most part, he was trying to go to half guard. Like, the whole of the first round between those two was like, Islam would get him to the ground, or Oliveira pulled guard, and then obviously, and then Oliveira swept. Like, in between the time where Oliveira pulled guard, and then when he swept Islam and got back up to the feet, there was really not that much going on. Like, Islam didn't get to side control, he didn't get to mount, he didn't attempt any submissions, he didn't really pass the guard. The best he got was half guard, and then like 2 seconds later, Oliveira's just got his guard back. So I don't think that Arman's going to do that much to this guy on the ground. I think everyone sees him TKO Joel Alvarez and beat him up and cut him open with elbows, and it's like, Oliveira's not that guy. He doesn't just get beaten up on the ground that much. So that is my opinion there. But I wanted to talk about the striking as well. Obviously, we are going to go to the tape in a second, but this is just my initial thoughts on this, kind of what I was going on about in the prediction video. But the striking-wise, I just don't think Arman has that much. Obviously, he's got danger. He has a bit of power. But apart from him flash KOing Old Man Benil, Slow Twitch Benny, Slow Twitch Dariush, who has he really like rocked badly and hurt on the feet? I don't think there's many people. Like, he kind of dropped Gamrot off balance with a spinning back fist, but he's the first guy that hasn't like actually dropped and like put down Gamrot. Like, Gamrot got dropped by RDA, Gamrot got dropped by Benil Dariush, Gamrot got dropped by Jalen Turner. Like, Gamrot gets dropped in all of his fights, and the best you could do was land a spinning back fist when he was off balance. Like, I can't be watching you go 5 rounds with Gamrot and make him actually look solid at striking. Like, Gamrot's an awkward striker, I'll give you that, but Gamrot's style is to shoot for the legs for dear life. He's not a guy that is like, yeah, let me technically strike with you at range. Let me go back and forth with you on the feet. Like, he was getting tagged by Gamrot, and I'm going to show you some instances of that in a second. But if you're looking at the comparison, just look at these records again. His last opponent, Beneil Dariush, KO on the feet. Incredible stuff. Joaquim Silva rocked him in that fight. Demiraz Magulov, he just wrestled him for dear life. 7 takedowns. Gamrot back and forth. Again, got taken down, even got landed on the feet. Joel Alvarez, yeah, it was pretty much all wrestling. Alvarez has no takedown defense. But then look at Oliveira. If Arman was striking with Alvarez and striking with Dariush for longer periods of time and striking with these guys and just schooling them and having the other guys having no moments even on the feet, I'd feel differently. But Oliveira also beat Beneil Dariush. Beneil pretty much did nothing on the feet, and Oliveira showed his grappling in that fight too. Makhachev, that's the guy to outstrike Oliveira, and that's crazy to say given that he fought Gaethje, he fought Poirier, and he fought Chandler before that. But Makhachev was the guy that was stinging and tagging up Oliveira on the feet, not even these like more considered like more elite strikers, and I think that's a stylistic thing that Arman's not going to present, because Islam's a guy who's got elite counters and he's got great defense and he's really hard to hit. And you saw that Oliveira was just not able to find his punches that well against Makhachev. Arman's not that defensively sound. Like, if you go back to Islam's career before that Oliveira fight, apart from him getting hilariously chinned by Adriano Martins, you can't find that many moments of him just getting clocked and clipped and looking defensively bad on the feet. There's just not as many of them. But again, with Arman, you can see him getting tagged up. Like, he gets tagged on the feet. And with a guy like Oliveira, you're getting tagged by him. It's a different story compared to Joaquim Silva. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. But yeah, like, Beneil Dariush beat him on the feet. Makhachev, he lost. Gaethje outstruck him, got dropped a couple times, but ended up putting him down. Poirier, that was one where it was pretty close, but you're going to tell me Arman Tsarukyan's even close to the striker of Dustin Poirier? Poirier, even in the first round, looked like the striking output numbers with these two was crazy. They threw like 100, they landed like 100 combined punches in round 1. I just don't think Arman's that same guy. And you see Arman, when he gets put on the back foot a little bit, or when he's not going forward. Like, that KO against Beneil came because he was going forward. Beneil Dariush is a slow starter, and he kind of gets pressured very easily. Oliveira did the same thing to him. And again, Arman KO'd the version of Beneil Dariush that had just got KO'd by Oliveira. So I'm not going to act like he's just snapped the 9-fight win streak of Beneil Dariush. Like, no, that was Oliveira that did that. That Oliveira is the one that took away Beneil's confidence and made him think and made him realize that he's not a top 5 guy. You're going to tell me that Arman comes in there, just gets a little flash KO and bang, he's just a massive power puncher. Like, there's people that get flash KOs and flash knockdowns against, like, and they never, apart from that, they never get KOs or rock anyone in their career. So I don't think that's indicative of saying, yeah, Arman's just this power puncher. I don't think Oliveira's facing the same level as danger against Poirier or against Chandler or against Gaethje or against Makhachev on the feet. So I just don't think Arman's going to propose that same issue. And yeah, again, Arman gets tagged up in a lot of his fights. So that is what I have to say on the fight. I think Oliveira is going to be too good on the feet. I think he's so much cleaner. I think he's quicker. Arman does have some fast twitch ability, but you're going to tell me that, oh, look, Arman's got the speed advantage for sure. Look how quickly he KO'd Beneil. You're going to tell me that he's done that, but where else have we seen this super speedy Arman Tsarukyan, or this amazing explosive guy? Like, he's got some good kicks, he's got some good punches. Don't get me wrong, he's not a bad striker by any means. I'm not saying this is fucking Charles Oliveira fighting like fucking Chase Hooper or some shit that's just got nothing on the feet. Like, Arman definitely can hit him on the feet, and he does have power, and Oliveira can get dropped. We've seen this. If he just comes out and bang cracks him, he could cause troubles. But Oliveira, when he's getting clipped, it's by really good counter strikers, and I don't think, for the most part, like, Poirier dropped him when he came in, Islam was cracking him when he came in, Gaethje was the one, and Chandler was the one that did kind of hurt him going forward. But I just don't think Arman's going to be able to put Oliveira on the back foot. Oliveira's been there, he's done that. He's been in these big spotlights. Arman hasn't. Arman's biggest spotlight is a main event in an arena against Beneil Dariush. He's never been on a big pay-per-view card like this on the main card. He's never been in front of a guy that's just got this level of stardom and this like level of buzz around the matchup. So I just don't think he's going to be in that space to get Oliveira going backwards, to come out and impose his will. And I think Oliveira's going to be the one to do that, because we see Oliveira go out against Gaethje and immediately on the front foot and crack him in the first 10 seconds. Like, we see this guy, we see him go out there and immediately head kick Beneil and rock him in the first 20 seconds. Like, Oliveira is always a fast starter, and I think Arman's going to kind of shit himself and be like, what the fuck? And he's going to find himself on the back foot, and when he finds himself on the back foot, he panics and he does these weird movements. They're unnecessary movements. They're called like panic movements. Panic reactions is a big thing that he does. It's happened when Joachim Silva rocked him. He sticks both of his hands out and tries to grab onto you. Like, that's a reaction that happens when he's rocked. Sometimes when you throw, this guy leaves himself open, or he goes for weird stuff, or he shoots panic takedowns. He's just not quite as composed. Oliveira, he gets dropped. He goes to the ground. He's like, all right, we're good. I'll just chill in my guard for a sec. We're back up. He doesn't leave himself out of place on the feet. He's not that technical, deficient kind of striker that I think Arman is at moments, where you just get, like, Arman's great. Going forward, on his forward pressure, he looks great. He's got some great striking. But Oliveira, the difference between the two of them is one of them leaves himself open and leaves himself like looking weird and not doing the right thing. Similar to how Johnny Walker always leaves himself open. Oliveira just kind of gets cracked when he gets cracked by really good technical strikers, because they find their own openings. But Arman, when he's being rocked, he leaves himself open and he's not quite as composed. And when you see Oliveira rock Dariush and rock Chandler and rock Gaethje, they get them out of there, and he gets them out of there, and they aren't able to recover. And they do the same thing. They try and run off. They try and circle away. They try and just chill for a sec or back up, and then they just get swarmed and they're cooked. So that's what I think is going to happen here. But now let's look at the tape, and I'll break this shit down, because I've been yapping for a whole lot of time. So let's get into it. So first off, we got Arman Tsarukyan, and he loves going for these takedowns off the court kick. So I do think he will try and go for these against Oliveira. Obviously, Joachim Silva trying to use the whizzer, trying to stay strong, but Arman Tsarukyan grabs that far knee nicely and stays on top. So that is good grappling there from him. But look at this. Tell me this man's not open as fuck for like a hook in the pocket. He loves these elbows. Also in the clinch, that's a big thing. Clinch battle in this is going to be a big one. Joachim Silva there tried to switch stances and kind of just got punched in the face. Again here, Arman, elbows. Loves these elbows in the clinch. And good head movement there. So he does have some defense, but I feel like sometimes he's just open as fuck. Again, like jabbing here, look, he's like kind of chasing him down with his hand by his waist, swinging a slow hook in the pocket. Like, I don't know, Silva swinging big there. And just wraps him up in the clinch, going for a knee there. I think the clinch battle will be big here, and I think it's something Oliveira's going to get the better of. Again, stepping in there. Tell me this guy's just not open as fuck to get punched in close in the pocket. That's what I'm seeing. Again, coming in there, gets cracked over the top with that left hand. Again, swinging. But I don't know, man. I feel like he's just open as shit to get fucking whacked in the face. Like, I think Oliveira's going to catch him as he tries to come in and leaves himself open. Like, this is what I mean. He's got decent pressure, but he's like, when he's actually trying to strike, he leaves himself open. He's out of position. Nice body shot there from Joachim Silva. Like, he's just pouring out there. Then that's when he got cracked with a left hook. That's something I see Oliveira hitting him with a bunch. And then here, look, this is what I mean. He tries to grab out and just push both of his hands out as like a post. Like, those are panic reactions. That's not good technique. Somehow Silva lets him get in on this takedown. But I think if he shoots this, I swear to God, Oliveira guillotines his fucking head off. Like, I just don't see, again, both open here. Like, this is sloppy striking from the two of them. This is not good stuff. Like, throwing 1-2s, chin's kind of up in the air. Like, he's got some good pressure, but I just don't think Oliveira's going to let him get that pressure going, and I just don't think Arman's that effective on the back foot. This is a nice takedown. He gets around to the side and then lifts him up, turns him over the other side. This is the Beneil fight. Like, he's just pouring. I feel like Arman, he just strikes in a way that's like he's making movements just for the sake of movements. Like, what's with this, like, constantly throwing these weird little mini left hooks and stuff? Like, this is where he gets the finish. So I'm kind of, I'm criticizing him for a fight which he won by KO in a minute. But tell me before that, like, he wasn't just open as shit to get cracked over the top. This is where, in a scramble, Islam kind of ends up with that head wrap. Oliveira's guillotining you here, I swear to God. This didn't count as a submission attempt, because obviously Islam didn't kind of commit to anything. It was just a control thing. But if Oliveira ends up in this position, he's getting your fucking neck and he's cracking you. But yeah, what's it called? Gamrot gets around to the back here. I swear to God, if you give up your back, if he ends up in the clinch and gives up his back, he's going to get cracked. He's getting hit here by Gamrot, I swear. Like, look at this shit, bro. Like, he got hit with a right hand there as he went for the back fist. He cracked Gamrot there, but he's open on the feet, man. Bang, gets cracked there. Again, I think he gets hit again here. Again, another big right hand there from Gamrot. Gamrot has pillow hands, man. That's the tape that I've got there for Arman. But Gamrot's got pillow hands, and he was cracking you. The only reason you weren't getting dropped or wobbled like you did against Silva is because Gamrot's got no power and he hits like a fucking old lady. Like, Gamrot quite literally has never hurt anyone with a strike in his life. It just doesn't happen. So I swear, he's getting hit by right hands over the top. He comes in with big looping shots with overhands and stuff, and then he gets hit over the top. And that's by Joaquim Silva. Joaquim Silva fucking was getting a tough fight from Clay Guida in his last fight. They both fought on the same card. When Arman beat Dariush, on the same main card, Joaquim Silva fought Clay Guida. And I'm sorry, I love Clay Guida, he's a legend, but you should not be having a close fight with Clay Guida. And if you had a scrap back and forth for a couple rounds with a guy that had a close fight with Clay Guida and you got rocked by that dude, Joaquim Silva landed a better strike. Like, between those two fights, guess who he landed the cleaner strike on and who he had in the most trouble? It was fucking Arman Tsarukyan. He did not have Clay Guida shooting for the legs for dear life after he cracked him with a left hook. Like, I just don't think Arman is going to be able to strike like this against Oliveira. And even like Dariush fight, he cracked him and KO'd him, bang. Like, good job. But we didn't really see him strike for a long period of time. And even in some of those early exchanges, you know, when Dariush was pushing him back and Arman's kind of just like holding his left hand out from his face, almost just like a frame or a post or something. Like, he just wants to have his hand out there for no reason, just because he's getting pressured back. He's like, oh, I better put my hand out. But like, he's open to get hit over the top, and we saw it with Gamrot, we saw it with Joaquim Silva, and even in the grappling too, he had some good moments there. He's good offensive wrestler, but I don't know, I just don't see him doing all this and just chucking around Charles Oliveira and having his way with Du Bronx. So that is my opinion. That's what I'm seeing there. He's getting cracked in a lot of his fights. He gets hit, and Gamrot's a pillow puncher, and if he's cracking you, Oliveira, if he's hitting you with the same shots, you're wobbling. Yeah, that's just my opinion. But let's look at some tape of Charles Oliveira. So this is the Beneil fight, and this is where he just goes bang with the head kick in just a moment. Early, 15 seconds in, and he's fucking throwing high kicks. On the ground, this is the grappling. Look at this. He just has this frame. None of these shots are connecting from Beneil, and then Oliveira's just landing back elbows off his back. Again, goes deep half sweep here, goes for the leg. Has his knee in a good, like, obviously they didn't count this as an official submission attempt because it wasn't like all the way in, but he gets up here, and this is my thing against Islam. He got up, like, he just got up. Anytime he was trying, like, apart from that, there's another head kick. This is the finish, obviously, just beautiful stuff. But again, you can watch it here. Again, this is what I mean. He's on you if he hurts you, and if Arman gets cracked by those shots that he gets hit by Joaquim Silva or Gamrot, he's wobbling around and Oliveira's finishing him. Gaethje fight again, like 9 seconds in, and he's just drilled his fucking skull with the right hand. Gaethje's already wobbled. Again, knees in the clinch. This is where I think Oliveira can win the clinch battle. Arman likes going for elbows. Oliveira will go for everything, and he'll knee the fuck out of you. He did get dropped there by Gaethje, and this is where Arman does have openings if he can find them. But I just don't think his pocket boxing is as good as Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier. Got dropped again there. But yeah, I just don't think Arman has that same level of striking in the exchanges. This was a clean one. He clipped him over the top with the right. This is another one. Flying knee guillotine attempt, and then right hands. Creative striking, angles off. He's not rudimentary. He's not one-dimensional in the striking. Another one, just bang, drill his fucking skull with that right. Checks the kick or lifts it. in the clinch, and he's looking always. He's got the hand on the head as a post, and then again, it just drills him with that right hand. This is where he does get cracked, though. Islam did crack him, but Makhachev is much more of a... much better of a counter-striker, because Makhachev's offensive striking, he leaves openings, but when he counter-strikes, it's actually really good. This is another thing. Again, Islam, he just gets up, like, goes for the sweep, gets up, he's got the answers on the ground. This was creative from Islam, made him go for the knee, went back, and then when Oliveira went for the knee, he tripped him. That was nice stuff. There's another one, though, in the grappling, he tries to get him down. Oliveira just stays balanced, stays upright. When he actually made an effort, he got dropped there. That's where another problem. Don't go for stupid flying knees, Oliveira. But when he tried to stay up, he stayed up for the most part. Like, you just don't see this guy really try and defend takedowns, because most of the time he can just get up. But when he realized Makhachev did have a little bit of, he had a bit of trouble with Makhachev, then he's like, all right, I'll just not get taken down. But against Kevin Lee, this is what I mean. Arman Tsarukyan never had a submission attempted on him. And you're going to tell me Oliveira throwing up triangles, linking them to leg locks, doing all this shit. You're telling me Arman's going to be across this. Like, I just don't think he's got that same level of experience dealing with guys going for it. This was creative. He locked up his leg, and then he takes Kevin Lee back and almost takes his back here. He just tangles you up on the ground, goes for the armbar there. This is what I mean. Look how he links these together. Armbar, had that pretty in, turns it to an omoplata, then he actually ends up back on bottom, because he probably could have ended up on top if he wanted, but then goes straight to a triangle. Like, come on, man. And this is if Arman shoots a single leg, his neck is getting fucking squeezed and he's tapping out, or he's going out unconscious. Didn't even have the legs all the way. It's not even like he had the legs covering the back. So that's not even the tightest the guillotine could be. But look, this is the Chandler fight where he just rocked him. This is what I mean. You get cracked. If you get wobbled at all by this guy, you're done. Like, it's wraps for you. Same happened with David Tamer. Less of an example, Nick Lentz. Like, this guy does not fumble finishes. When he hurts you with the striking, it's wraps for you. Like, look, right hand, he's drilling him with the right hand, and then bang, left hook. Left hook and the right cross are his best weapons, in my opinion, and I see him landing those on Arman all night long, who has not shown to just have this granite chin. It's not like we've never seen Arman get rocked or wobbled, and we're just, like, making a guess or making a hope that maybe Oliveira could crack him or put him down. Like, Arman's been hit before, he's been cracked, and I just don't see him having the same success like Poirier did. Arman's not a guy that throws counter hooks in the pocket. Arman's not a guy that gets scrappy and throws uppercuts and, like, extends the combinations. Arman's not a guy that's landing really good counter strikes like Islam, who's actually got really clean counter striking. And, like, let's not act like Islam didn't go toe-to-toe with Volk in the striking in the first fight and then knock him out in the second. Like, this is not like Islam is just this bad striker who caught him on the feet. Islam is a really good striker and had just as much success on the feet as Gaethje and Poirier did. He's on that sort of level with the counter-striking. Obviously, his offensive boxing, not quite as good. But his front foot boxing's not as good, but his counter-striking is really good, and I just don't see that threat from Arman Tsarukyan. Just, like, I'm sorry, but if you take away that Beneil KO, seriously, if you take away that KO and we don't see that fight, if that fight just did not happen, you're telling me people... Bedtime MMA is picking Arman Tsarukyan by KO, or at least that's what his thumbnail of his video a couple weeks ago said. I didn't watch the video, I actually didn't see it, but I just saw the thumbnail of it. Let's not act like, where's that came from? The only reason you're picking Arman Tsarukyan by KO is because he KO'd old man washed Beneil, who's a slow starter, and basically was Oliveira's sloppy seconds. Like, Oliveira dealt with that shit, Oliveira already had his way with that, and Arman was just getting the leftovers. Like, I don't think that's that impressive of a win. So if you take away that fight, where are you seeing this Arman Tsarukyan by KO prediction? I get it if you think Arman, like, the way I think Arman's going to win, if he does, is, I guess, just control time, and Oliveira just isn't able to get his submissions going and can't get up because Arman's heavy on top. But I think Islam is way heavier on top than Arman Tsarukyan. I think Islam's a way stronger grappler, way stronger wrestler, and I just don't see him having the same trouble that he did with Makhachev, who, again, only really passed his guard and actually got to a submission position after he dropped him. And I just don't see Arman dropping him. Maybe he does, maybe wobbles him. But again, when you see Oliveira rocked and wobbled in his fights, he's the one that comes back. Gaethje rocked him. Poirier rocked him. Chandler rocked him. these guys hurt him in fights, so I'm not saying he's invincible. Obviously, we see this guy get cracked, and I am worried that maybe Arman just catches him with something. But we've never seen him get, like, flatline KO'd. We've never seen these guys get put out. And if it's going to be someone, I just don't think it's going to be a guy like Tsarukyan. If it was going to be someone to flatline KO him, I would say it's like a Gaethje rematch, or maybe Makhachev cracks him again in a rematch and puts him away. Like, Arman's just not a guy who's flatlining guys, apart from Beneil, who was washed and old. So I'm just not overly impressed by that win. And if you take that away, I just don't understand where this, Arman's knocking him out. First round KO for Arman Tsarukyan. If Arman's going to win, I do think it's going to be just a bunch of control time, maybe just hold his back up, like clinch control. But again, I just think Oliveira's better everywhere. I think he's a better technical striker. I think he's got more power. He's got more finishing potential. He's got more submission potential and more finishing potential on the ground as well. Even off his back, he throws as good of a ground and pound as his opponents does. Against Beneil Dariush, he landed more strikes to Beneil than Beneil did to him. The only punches that Beneil landed on the ground were hitting his arm, because Oliveira just had a post and he had that guard, like you would normally guard like a hook on the feet. He just had that, and he was just blocking everything. Beneil was punching a hole in the canvas, not landing a single strike on the ground. Oliveira was landing back elbows, back fist. I think he even stunned Beneil at one point with like a back fist. He landed them against Kevin Lee. Lee got a couple ground and pound strikes off. He was landing up kicks against Islam. We just don't see guys go follow him to the ground and just have a lot of success with ground and pound. I don't think Arman's going to do that. I don't think he's going to beat him up like he did to Joel Alvarez. And so, yeah, I just don't see where this minus 230, minus 240, in some places minus 250, which is a wider line than the closing line was for Oliveira and Makhachev. Oliveira and Makhachev opened at like minus 300 for Islam. It closed at like minus 190 for Makhachev. You're going to tell me that people think stylistically Arman Tsarukyan has a better chance of beating Oliveira than Makhachev? I just don't see it. I think Oliveira's going to have his way on the feet. He's going to crack him badly. I think if he hurts him and Arman shoots a panic takedown, he's taking the neck. I think even if he doesn't hurt him, if Arman's wrestling, I think there is a lot of danger in shooting those single and double legs. And he doesn't really get a lot of takedowns from other positions. Most of his takedowns are single and double legs. And we saw Kevin Lee shot a single and he fit right into that ghillie. So I'm taking Oliveira by finish. I think it will be a TKO. I think he will crack Arman Tsarukyan with either a left hook or a right hand, maybe drop him or maybe just wobble him, and then he follows him up and has a similar sort of thing to with Chandler or with Beneil, where he just drowns you, stays on you, and you can't recover. So I'm picking Oliveira by round 1 TKO, right hand or left hook. One of those two is going to rock Arman Tsarukyan, and then he's going to follow him up and finish him off with ground and pound as Arman's sort of trying to recover but just not there, and hammer fists get it done. So yeah, that's my prediction. Like and subscribe. Let me know who you guys are picking in the comments, if you agree with my picks. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's a long video. Peace out.